On a rainy morning, a millionaire splashes mud on a nurse, not realizing that this moment will change their lives. Between pride, public scandal, and unexpected redemption, both discover that power and humility are measured through the most human gestures. It has been raining since before the alarm clock goes off. The rain isn't loud, but it covers everything like a veil. The sky is gray, and the streets still look asleep. In a small apartment, a nurse gets ready for her day. Her name is Anna. Her clean uniform is folded on a chair, and her shoes wait by the door. She checks the clock. Her shift is about to start. She takes a deep breath. Today will be a long shift. Black coffee, 2 sips, and a simple piece of bread. No time for more. Anna checks her bag. Gloves, masks, a notebook full of notes, a pen that only works sometimes. Everything is ready. Before leaving, she sends a short message to her mother. "I'm fine. I'll write at lunch." The house falls silent. Outside, the water runs in thin rivers along the edge of the sidewalk. Anna slowly goes down the stairs. Each step creaks a little. When she reaches the street, she zips up her coat. The umbrella opens like a wet flower. The city greets her with blinking traffic lights and cars leaving cold wind behind them as they pass. She walks with steady steps. She knows the way well. She turns at the pharmacy corner, crosses in front of a bakery that already smells of warm dough and butter. She waves at the baker. He answers with his chin, busy with a tray. Anna thinks about the patients she will probably see. The lady who complains about back pain. The boy who feels dizzy when giving blood. The old man who always asks for the time even though he wears a watch. These faces are part of her day. They're not family, but some kind of affection grows anyway. Meanwhile, a few blocks away, another alarm doesn't even ring. A smart system turns off the lights, plays soft music, and opens the curtains of a high-rise apartment. The owner, a man always in a hurry, is called Marcos. Many know him as the skyscraper man. His schedule is planned to the minute. On his marble table there are 3 phones, an expensive watch, and an envelope with documents. For him, the rain is just another detail. It changes nothing. A dark suit waits on a rack. The shirt is ironed like a fresh page. The driver has already sent a message. The car is ready. Marcos doesn't eat in the kitchen. He asks for something simple to be brought up. Juice, toast, some fruit that doesn't stain. He checks his emails. Some deals move forward, others get stuck. All of them need decisions. He looks at the watch and makes a gesture. He doesn't like to arrive on time. He likes to arrive early. The elevator glides softly down to the lobby. The doorman greets him. He nods without words. The revolving door spins, and the street air hits his face with the smell of rain. The driver opens the back door. The car is a shiny animal, ready to run. The city holds them both. Anna, with her bag, umbrella, and mind focused on the hospital. Marcos, with his car, his plans, and his eyes fixed on the day ahead. They don't know each other. They have no reason to, but they share the same sad sky and the same sound of water. The drops hit roofs, hoods, and puddles, making everything sound a little more distant. The traffic lights change colors as if repeating old orders. Anna walks faster. She knows if she arrives early, she can help prepare the ward. Change sheets, check IVs, arrange trays. She likes everything to be ready before the first patient comes in. There's a silent pride in the way she works. It's not obvious at first sight, but it holds many things together. At the bus stop, she decides not to wait. Rain brings delays. She prefers to walk. It's 10 blocks, maybe a bit more. Marcos reviews the folder that goes into his briefcase one last time. Meeting 8:30, says the cover in large letters. Important people will be at the table. There will be charts, numbers, signatures. He can't lose a single minute. He gives the driver a short order. Fastest route. The engine answers with a deep growl. The wheels draw lines on the wet asphalt. On the street edges, water forms sleepy puddles. Some reflect the gray sky. Others hide potholes. A street cleaner pushes leaves and wrappers stuck to his broom. A dog shakes itself, splashing its own owner. The city, even in the rain, does not stop. Taxis, bikes, motorbikes, street vendors in ponchos. Everyone adapts as best as they can. Anna thinks of her mother, the electric bill, and a book she left unfinished. She promises herself to pick it up again on Sunday. She also thinks of a conversation she owes a coworker. She feels a light ache in her shoulders, the memory of other shifts. But habit sets her pace. Inhale, exhale, keep going. Marcos thinks of margins, percentages, headlines. An assistant texts him. "Do you confirm lunch?" He replies with a thumbs up. He looks out the window and sees the city like a board game. Things seem to move so he can pass. He doesn't stop to notice the details. He never has. Hurry taught him to see only what matters to arrive first. At one corner, the traffic light takes too long. Anna waits. Water runs down the umbrella fabric and falls in a thin stream. Beside her, a woman with a cart size. "Hopefully it stops by the afternoon," she says. Anna nods and smiles. A small gesture that warms the air. At another corner, further ahead, a guard lifts a barrier to let a car out. Marcos rests an elbow on the door and checks his watch again. The driver scans the distance with his eyes and changes lanes. Slowly, their paths get closer. Neither of them knows. It's just the morning map pushing each one forward. The rain stays the same, constant, patient. Its music will cover any missing words. Anna turns onto the hospital street. One long block, one short block left. She quickens her step. She checks her badge is within reach. A chill runs through her when the wind sneaks water down her neck. She laughs to herself. So be it, she thinks, and keeps walking. Marcos, several blocks away, tells the driver to speed up on the next straight. There's still time, but he dislikes tight margins. A new message buzzes on his phone. He ignores it. The day truly begins. The hospital doors open and close without rest. The glass tower doors do the same. Two worlds move forward, side by side, under the same rain. The rain doesn't let up. It falls fine and steady, as if no one could ever turn it off. Anna can already see the hospital sign 2 blocks away. She tightens her grip on the umbrella and walks faster. She doesn't think about anything except getting there, shaking off the cold and starting her shift. The curb is full of leaves nobody swept. The water gathers into a dark belly that looks still but isn't. A wide, deep puddle hugs the edge. On the other side of the avenue, the black car moves forward with confidence. Inside, the air is warm. The glass is only lightly splashed. Marcos checks his watch. The driver checks the road. They come from the office district, take a long curve, and speed up. The engine growls, contained, like an animal released from its cage. It isn't rage, it's haste. On the radio, a voice speaks about slow traffic because of the rain. The driver chooses the clearest lane. The car stretches out, smooth, steady, like it's floating. Anna reaches the corner. The pedestrian light blinks. There's a bakery, a kiosk, a newsstand covered in plastic. The newsstand man organizes damp magazines. A woman pushes a fruit cart. 2 students share a broken umbrella. No one pays much attention to the street. The rain dulls their gazes. Anna waits for the green light and takes a short step closer to the curb. She checks the time again. She'll arrive a few minutes early. She likes that, to enter the locker room without rushing. The puddle sleeps beside her, but it isn't clean water. It has a rim of mud, bits of leaves, thin streaks of oil drawing poor colors. Anna's thought of "don't get too close to the curb" comes too late. A gear shift is heard. A hum, deep, that grows louder. Then the sound of a tire cutting through the film of water. It lasts a second, maybe less. First the roar, then the whip of the puddle. The water rises like a wall. Cold, heavy, full of dust and grease. It hits the umbrella, bounces, runs inside, slips under her coat collar, down her back. It bursts against the front of the uniform Anna wears underneath. It soaks her socks. It stains her legs with thick mud. The blow makes her step back. The umbrella twists. The air fills with the smell of wet street, metal, open sewer. She feels the taste of dirty water on her tongue from a drop that jumps into her mouth. She closes her eyes for an instant. The car doesn't stop. It doesn't even seem to notice hitting the puddle. The wheels keep tracing lines on the asphalt. The driver changes lanes to dodge a taxi. Marcos turns his head toward the window for a second, as if something outside calls him, but he quickly returns to his screen. Everything happens too fast to weigh on his busy mind. By the time the last big drops of the wave fall on Anna's shoes, the car has already turned the corner. The traffic light turns red for cars. A short silence follows, broken only by the rain and a distant horn. One of the students lets out a nervous laugh, muffled by her hand. The woman with the fruit cart looks for a napkin in her bag, but finds nothing. The newsstand man stretches out a roll of paper towel over the magazines. "Here, girl," he says, with a mix of pity and annoyance. Anna breathes. She doesn't shout. She doesn't curse. She clenches her teeth so they don't shake. Water drips from her hair down her neck. The coat, once a coat, now stabs her skin with cold. Her pants cling to her knees. The white uniform underneath shows a brown stain climbing like a bad flower. Anna tries to shake the fabric, but only spreads the marks. She looks at her hands. They tremble, more from anger than cold. She thinks of the hospital locker room, of soap, of the small towels that never dry enough, of the spare uniforms that sometimes are there and sometimes aren't. She thinks of the clock. If she loses 10 minutes, the ward will miss her. A boy in a blue jacket offers her a small water bottle. "To rinse a little," he says. A woman hands her a tissue. Someone mutters, "What a beast!" Another. Always the same, driving like the street belongs to them. An old man with a wooden umbrella tries to catch the license plate of any car, though the real one already turned and disappeared. The street, sleepy just moments before, is now awake and alert. The puddle, emptied by the wave, slowly fills up again, with a puddle's patience. Anna lifts her face. Water runs down her forehead. She takes a deep breath. She tells herself, "Don't cry." Not because crying isn't allowed, but because if she starts, she won't know when to stop. She looks at the hospital entrance and calculates. If she crosses the roundabout, enters through the ER, takes the short hallway, she'll reach the locker room in 5 minutes. If she finds towels, she can fix herself up. If not, she'll search lost and found for a dry jacket. Everything becomes logistics to avoid being late. Her mind searches for simple, quick solutions. The anger stays in the background, but doesn't go away. 20 meters ahead, the light turns green. Anna crosses slowly, her shoes making sucking sounds as they leave the water. Each step carries the weight of mud clinging to the fabric, like a hand pulling her down. People watch her without malice, more with a shared sense of "what a shame." The newsstand man raises a thumb as if to say, "Go on, you're doing fine." Anna answers with a slight nod. Part of her wants to go back home, change completely, stand under a hot shower, and erase the moment. But the other part, the one that carries her through long shifts, wins. She keeps going. Meanwhile, the car stops at a traffic light 4 blocks away. The wipers keep a steady rhythm. Marcos quietly reviews 3 points of the meeting. The driver mentions the next avenue often floods. "Take the side street," Marcos says, without lifting his eyes. The engine purrs again. When the light changes, the car pushes forward with a force that makes the doors vibrate. In the mirror, barely a trace remains of what happened behind. Just another puddle, another street, another day. Anna reaches the ER ramp. A stretcher bearer greets her from a distance and, when he sees her, raises his eyebrows. "Got caught in the rain, eh?" She forces a short smile. "Yeah, a little." She doesn't want to tell the story. Not now. She feels that if she says it, if she puts it into words, it will come crashing back. She prefers to lock the image away, at least until she's dry. She pushes the heavy door. Inside, the air smells of disinfectant and reheated coffee. The world outside stays behind, beating on the glass with drops. She looks for the locker room. She leaves her dripping umbrella in a corner. She opens her locker. She pulls out a thin towel, the same as always, worn out, never enough to dry. She wipes her face, her neck, her arms. She looks at herself in the mirror. A streak of mud runs down her cheek, like a mark she never asked for. She wipes it with a scrap of paper. She looks at her uniform. She rubs it with soap. The brown lightens, but doesn't vanish. She bites her lip. "I can't go into the ward like this," she thinks. She searches a shelf. Miracle. A uniform in her size, not new but clean. She grabs it like someone who finds a coin on the sidewalk. As she changes, she hears the hospital waking up. Hurried footsteps, rolling beds, voices calling names, monitor alarms. She feels her pulse return to its work rhythm, the one that keeps her steady. In the pocket of the wet coat, her phone buzzes. A message from her mother. "Bundle up, daughter. The weather is bad." Anna smiles with irony. "Yeah, I know," she thinks and writes back, "I'm fine." Word she wants to believe for now. She faces the mirror again. Her face is clean. Her hair tied back. Her uniform dry. Her shoes still damp, but she will walk anyway. She closes the locker and, before leaving, takes one more deep breath. She doesn't know that outside, the puddle that soaked her was the start of more than just a bad moment. All she knows is the same as always, that patients are waiting, that the clock is ticking, that her work needs her in the ward. She pushes the door and steps into the hallway. The day, which was hers until now belongs to everyone. Anna takes a deep breath as she adjusts her dry uniform. The smell of disinfectant and old coffee surrounds her. With her hair tied back and a fresh mask on her face, she leaves the locker room. She walks down the hallway toward the emergency ward. Each step echoes in her mind with the image of water and mud hitting her body. It wasn't just water. It was a blow she didn't see coming, one that struck at something simple, her dignity. She pulls on her gloves like they are a shield and tightens the elastic band of the mask over her nose. Her eyes, behind the plastic, still shine with something that no uniform change can erase. When she enters the ward, she greets her co-workers with a quick gesture. One of them, Luisa, notices something is wrong. "Did you get soaked?" she asks quietly. Anna shrugs and makes a face. "A car went by fast," she says, downplaying it. She adds no details. She doesn't want to turn it into a story. She hides the trembling still in her chest. She knows that here, the focus must stay on other people's pain. She throws herself into her work, checks the shift sheet, adjusts an 4 for an old woman with cold hands, changes the bandage on a teenager's wrist while he barely looks up from his phone. Routine helps calm her. When she looks at each patient, she focuses on their comfort. But every now and then, as she fixes her mask, she remembers the sensation of dirty water running over her skin. Shame mixes with anger, hidden behind her eyes. No one notices because her face is covered. Her eyes are the only ones that could tell the story, and the plastic makes them invisible. At the entry log, Anna writes her name and time in rushed handwriting. Beside her, a TV mounted on the wall shows news silently. Images of flooded streets, stalled cars. She barely glances at it, but in her mind, she hears the voice narrating those scenes. She thinks about how many times the city has seen the same. Soaked people, speeding cars, indifference. That common picture now feels personal. In her pocket, her phone buzzes with a message. She checks quickly. Luisa writes, "Are you sure you're okay?" Anna replies with a thumbs up. She doesn't want to talk. Across the city, Marcos adjusts his cufflinks. He enters a modern meeting room with a long table and leather chairs. He greets the partners briefly. He looks at a presentation full of rising graphs. His day continues as if nothing had happened. For him, the puddle is a detail he never even noticed. His pride in arriving early, closing deals, and keeping his image as a successful businessman stays intact. His eyes show no doubt or fatigue. He listens closely, nods, gives directions. He speaks of numbers and projections, of investments and markets. Not a single word about the rain. Not one question about the people walking at that hour. His whole universe is at that table. Marcos's assistant hands him a document. He signs quickly, without reading the last paragraph, confident. His invisible suit is certainty. Not a crack touches his voice when, at the end of the meeting, he looks around and says, "Good work." He leaves the room with firm steps, without looking at the window where raindrops still cling. Outside, the driver waits for him. He opens the door with a mechanical gesture. Marcos sits, checks his phone, and replies to an email with a short, "Agreed." At the hospital, the first emergency of the day leaves no time to think. A man comes in with an injured arm. Anna prepares the stretcher, helps him up, cleans the wound with steady hands. The man complains but calms down when he sees Anna's composure. She smiles under her mask, even though it can't be seen. Her eyes send a stronger message, serious care, untouched by bad moods. With each action, Anna feels she is regaining a part of herself. Her work gives her back her dignity. It reminds her that her worth does not depend on a moment on the street, but on what she does every day. Between patients, she goes to fetch clean sheets. She passes a hallway mirror. Out of habit, she looks. She sees only her eyes and the white strip of the mask. The reflection shows a mix of fatigue and strength. She forces herself to hold that look for another second. "I'm here," she thinks. In the corner of her mind, the image of the black car pulling away appears. She wonders silently. Did he see? Did he notice? The answer is a murmur she cannot hear now. She shakes off the question like water from an umbrella and keeps going. By mid-morning, a co-worker comes into the locker room with her phone raised. "Did you see this?" she says to another. On the screen, a blurry video shows someone being soaked by water from a passing car. Anna freezes. She doesn't go closer, but hears the laugh that comes with the video. She doesn't know if it's the same corner, but a knot forms in her stomach. The clip lasts seconds, but has already been shared hundreds of times. A voice in the background curses the driver. Someone laughs. The nurse holding the phone says, "People have no respect anymore." Anna pretends not to hear. She fixes her eyes on her locker. She promises herself she won't watch it. Not now. She doesn't need to see herself from outside. She doesn't need a replay on a screen to know how it felt. Meanwhile, Marcos receives a message from his assistant. "There's a video online of a car like ours splashing a woman. People are talking about it." Marcos raises an eyebrow. He doesn't like the word talking. He knows social media can spark storms. He opens the link. He sees a moment. A black car, a puddle, a splash. The victim's face is not visible, but the car model is. An uneasy feeling creeps in. He closes the video. He looks at the driver, who also got the link and glanced at it. They say nothing. The discomfort sits in the back seat like a guest. Marcos pockets his phone. "Don't comment on this," he says. He thinks that if he ignores it, it might fade away like so many things. His pride whispers that his reputation is safe. He trusts that, as always, the rain will wash the story away. But this rain, that morning, is in no hurry. Across the city, Anna steps out to drink a glass of water. She leans against the wall for a moment. Her eyes, behind the mask, still wounded but firm. She knows humiliation does not define her. She decides that moment won't ruin her day. She feels tired, yes, but also stubborn. She promises herself she won't let someone else's pride erase her own. She breathes deeply. She goes back into the emergency ward and asks Luisa, "Who's next?" The shift goes on, and she, masked and with shining eyes, goes on too. The street does not stay quiet. After the incident, some people went on their way, but others pulled out their phones and aimed them at the puddle, at the car already turning the corner, at the soaked woman walking away. A young man, about 20, with a hood and cold hands, uploaded the video to his stories. "Look at this," he wrote, adding a surprised emoji. He never imagined that shaky, cut-off recording would be shared so much. In minutes, his friends reposted it. Then their friends. Then strangers. Something in the image. Maybe the clear contrast between the luxury car and the woman in uniform struck a collective nerve. The murmurs started on the same sidewalk. "Outrageous," said a woman shielding herself from the rain under a shop awning. "They always think they own the street," answered another, holding a bag of bread. Some laughed at the absurdity. Others got angry right away. A man in a suit, who had just seen the video on his phone, said out loud, "If that were my sister, I'd follow him until he apologized." The baker at the corner peeked out and asked what was going on. They showed her the video. She shook her head. "They just don't think," she muttered. Minutes later, the posts multiplied. Someone uploaded the clip to social media with the line, "Millionaire splashes nurse in the rain." Another added a hashtag respect on the street. The comments turned into a mix of anger and humor. "That's why I hate big cars," wrote one. "He probably didn't even notice," wrote another, trying to defend the driver. Most, though, saw it as a symbol of something bigger. The gap between those who move through life without looking and those who walk dodging puddles. In a nearby cafe, a group of young people argued while replaying the video. "Look at how the water sprays," one said, pointing at the screen. "Is it true about the millionaire?" asked another. "That kind of car isn't just anyone's," replied a girl. The debate lit up. Sometimes it felt like a game. Guessing the car brand, imagining which neighborhood it was heading to, picturing the driver's face. Other times, it turned serious, talking about respect, empathy, and how small actions show who we are. At the hospital, during a short break, Luisa showed the video to two other nurses. "Is this what happened to you?" she whispered. Anna, sipping water, caught a glimpse of the puddle and recognized her blue umbrella. Her heart skipped. "I don't want to see it," she said softly. She stood up and returned to the ward. She felt that if she saw the video, the humiliation would multiply. She preferred to hold on to her own memory, already heavy enough. Luisa pressed her lips together, put away her phone, and went back to work. In the hospital waiting room, two mothers watching their children spoke about it without knowing the protagonist was nearby. "They say it was a nurse," said one. "Poor woman. She was probably on her way to her shift," answered the other. Their words floated in the air, nameless but full of empathy. For them, the video was a reminder that the lives of caregivers often go unnoticed until something like this happens. Meanwhile, Marcos received a call from his communications advisor. "Sir, a video is circulating. They say it's you. Your face isn't visible, but the car matches our plate." Marcos looked out the window and sighed. He didn't like uncontrolled exposure. "Check the comments," he said. The advisor reported. "Many are outraged, some are asking who owns the car. A few media outlets are already sharing it." Marcos rubbed his forehead. For the first time that morning, a small crack appeared in his confidence. "Don't reply yet," he ordered. "This will blow over quickly." He hung up and returned to his schedule. But in his mind, the image of the soaked woman appeared, though he couldn't recall her face. He disliked the thought that his name could be linked to the word outrage. On the street, a group of teenagers argued about the ethics of recording and sharing. "Is it right to film someone like that?" asked one. "It's proof, otherwise no one would know," replied his friend. "But she didn't ask to be filmed," added a girl. The talk expanded to bigger topics: privacy, going viral, the responsibility to report. Each phone they raised to record became a mirror of their own choices. Little by little, even people far from the puddle started talking. A radio journalist mentioned the video on his morning show. Today a video is circulating showing a luxury car drenching a healthcare worker. We ask, what's happening with respect on our streets? If anyone knows her, we'd like to speak with her. He opened the phone lines. Several called in. Some to tell similar stories, others to demand penalties. No one knew Anna, but everyone had something to say. Someone posted a screenshot with the caption, "Does anyone know how to contact this nurse? We want to help her." Social media filled with comments from people offering to send her a coat, a new umbrella, a hot coffee. Some businesses offered symbolic discounts. Amid the viral spread, a wave of solidarity grew. Others, meanwhile, began investigating the car's owner. They posted pictures of similar vehicles, pointed to luxury buildings, compared plates. An amateur detective army was born. In the glass tower where Marcos worked, whispers grew too. Two employees chatted in the cafeteria. "They say the video is from here. Could it be true?" The doorman, hiding his phone, shook his head, but deep down he knew. He didn't want to be the first to talk. The company always boasted of good practices, donations, support for institutions. A scandal like this could harm that image. Some employees were upset. Others shrugged. Each quietly weighed what could happen. At Anna's home, her mother received a message from a neighbor. "Did you see the video of the car and the nurse? They say it happened near our neighborhood." Anna's mother replied, "I haven't. What's it like?" The neighbor sent the link. The mother opened it, recognized her daughter's blue umbrella, and felt a knot in her stomach. "That's my Anna," she whispered. The screen felt small and heavy in her hand. She wanted to call her immediately, but held back. She knew Anna was working. She decided to wait, though every minute dragged. By the afternoon, the media began contacting the police to see if the driver could be identified. One video showed part of the license plate, blurry but just legible. A user online wrote, "Identified, belongs to Company X." Others repeated the claim without checking. Theories multiplied. Some demanded justice. Others joked with memes. The episode became a national discussion in hours. The puddle was now a shared symbol. Anna, unaware of the digital storm, continued her shift. Now and then, she noticed curious glances from her co-workers. A young doctor said, "That video from this morning went viral." She feigned surprise. "What video?" she asked, almost whispering. "A nurse getting splashed," he explained. Anna nodded and quickly changed the subject to a medical matter. She didn't want to be the center of a debate that made her feel exposed and vulnerable. She preferred to stay anonymous, at least for now. The street had spoken. The internet had spoken. She still hadn't. By nightfall, a TV segment aired. They showed the puddle video, talked about inequality, interviewed a sociologist who explained how small acts reflect bigger problems. The piece ended with a call for empathy. Marcos saw it from the corner of his eye while eating dinner. A nervous knot tightened in his stomach. Anna, in the locker room before going home, heard a fragment on a portable radio. She froze, took a deep breath, and promised herself that once home, she'd turn off her phone for a while. The rain kept falling, but the story had already become a storm. The clock on the wall of the emergency room shows 11 o'clock. The hands move at their own pace, different from the people waiting, the staff rushing, the stories crossing paths in that small space. Anna, in her dry uniform, but with the stain still echoing in her memory, doesn't look at the clock often. She knows that every minute here feels like 3, and the best way to survive the shift is not to count them. The room is full. A pregnant woman complains of pain. A child cries with a hot forehead. An old man holds his injured arm with a worn cloth. The echo of voices mixes with the beeping of machines and the murmur of a television showing silent news. White and light blue uniforms move quickly, almost without pause. Dr. Martin asks Anna to check the monitor for the patient in bed 3. She nods and slips between stretchers. She looks at the green line rising and falling, adjusts the cables, writes down numbers on a sheet. Between a "can you move your arm?" and a "take a deep breath." Anna hears 2 patients talking about the video. They say it was near here. One comments. "Was it today?" asks the other. She feels uneasy, but doesn't intervene. She focuses on measuring blood pressure, counting pulses, making sure each patient gets what they need. Her hands move with precision. Her eyes behind the mask stay alert. Her mind tries not to drift toward what is happening outside. Each time the puddle scene sneaks in, she pushes it away as firmly as she places a needle. Luisa approaches with a tray of gauze. "Everything okay?" she whispers. Anna nods. Luisa knows she doesn't want to talk. She respects her silence. The 2 coordinate without words. They switch places, cover each other's breaks, share patience. Their routine together is a lifeline in the chaos. Every so often, they exchange small gestures of support. A squeeze on the shoulder, a wink behind the mask, a faint "let's go." At 12:30, a mother arrives with her son who cut his forehead. Blood stains his t-shirt. Anna takes him to a small room to clean him. The boy cries, but calms when she speaks softly. "Do you like dinosaurs?" she asks while carefully cleaning. The boy nods between sobs. "Did you know there was one called Triceratops? It was strong," she continues. The boy smiles a little. That brief smile is a break in the day. Anna feels some of her tension ease. She knows her work is not only to heal bodies, but also to calm fears. Time moves forward. At 1400 hours, a patient arrives with a high fever. At 1510, another with a fractured finger. At 1645, an elderly woman with chest pain. Between each case, Anna washes her hands, changes gloves, wipes down surfaces. She feels tired, but doesn't stop. The uniform grows heavier, not with water, but with the day's emotional weight. She remembers the journalist's words on the radio. "We are looking for the nurse to tell her side." She repeats to herself that she has no obligation to speak if she doesn't want to. Not now. Not when her priority is in that room. In a 5-minute break, Anna sits on a bench in a hallway. She takes off her mask for a moment to drink water. She looks at her shoes, still holding traces of dampness. She thinks of the unfairness of the morning incident. She recalls the comment she heard. "They always think they own the street." She feels the invisible stain of that moment clinging to her new uniform. She breathes deeply, wipes her forehead with the back of her hand, and puts her mask back on. The break ends before her body can process it. Her name echoes in the room. Anna, bed 7. She gets up and goes back in. While Anna works, two journalists with small cameras arrive at the hospital entrance. They speak with the secretary and ask if they can go inside to find the nurse from the video. The secretary refuses. "We're busy. You can't film here," she answers firmly. The reporters insist. They talk about the importance of the story, about the right to information. The secretary stares without blinking and repeats that they cannot pass. From a window, Anna sees the scene. Anxiety stabs her. She doesn't want to be part of a news piece. She doesn't want her bad moment turned into a spectacle. She lowers her gaze and continues with her patient. In the staff break room, someone left a magazine open with a short article. The viral video that outrages the country. The photo shows a black car and a wave of mud. Her face isn't visible, but the white uniform can be guessed. The headline talks about inequality and lack of empathy. Anna pauses to read the first line, then closes the magazine. She doesn't have the energy to see how others tell her story. All she wants is for her shift to end so she can go home. The uniform that identifies her as a nurse protects and exposes her at the same time. Today it feels like it exposes her more than she wants. After 1800 hours, the flow of patients slows a little. The pace is less frantic, but no one relaxes. Any calm moment can be broken. Anna takes the chance to tidy the room and prepare materials for the night shift. As she arranges syringes and IVs, she hears Luisa say, "The supervisor spoke with administration. It looks like tomorrow people from the press department will come. They want to know if anyone will talk about what happened." Anna feels a knot. "I don't know if I want to," she says quietly. Luisa looks at her with understanding. "They can't force you," she says. Anna nods. She knows she isn't obliged, but social pressure can be heavy. She thinks of her mother watching TV, the unread messages on her phone, the need to protect herself. Outside, the rain has eased, but the street is still wet. People walk carefully. Some stare at their phones while walking. Others talk about the video as if it were just part of the day. The city has absorbed the story into its routine. While in the emergency room time is measured in pulses and breaths, outside it is measured in likes and shares. Two clocks running for the same day. At 2000 hours, Anna finishes her shift. She removes her mask and plastic apron, washes her hands one last time, and says goodbye to her co-workers. She heads to the locker room, opens her locker, and takes her coat. She puts the clean but memory-stained uniform in a bag. She tucks the umbrella under her arm. Before leaving, she looks at her phone screen. Several messages wait. Some from numbers she doesn't recognize. Others from friends asking, "Is that you in the video?" Anna decides not to reply yet. She's not ready. She slips the phone into her pocket, tightens her coat, and leaves through the back door. She doesn't want to run into the reporters. She walks quickly to the avenue. The rain is now a light drizzle. The morning puddle has dried, but its effect remains. The uniform, now folded in the bag, still carries the invisible mark of injustice. In the glass tower, on a high floor where the clouds seem to touch the windows, Marco sits at a wide table surrounded by his advisors. The room is modern, with glass walls and neatly placed plants. In the middle of the table are bottles of water, notepads, and open laptops. Everyone looks at him, waiting for direction,